Alwaysirishnd. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The calling line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back. You all know the TV show. Welcome back, Cotter.
Thank you, Johnny. It's good to be here.
It's been a while, man. You've been traveling the world.
It's been like it's been 3.5 months since I've been on.
I've
called in a few times, but I haven't been on screen.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable.
I don't think we did a show in January. And I was gone. I was gone every weekend in February.
Yeah, you were travel. Well, now's the time to do it. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hope you're all enjoying the basketball. A lot of upsets. It looks like the SEC's failing in the tournament. I'm sure a lot of the crowd here will approve of that. So welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. It's Welcome Back Cotter time. Happy to have him here. Happy to have all you here. As you know, I'm going to Florida for the next week, so I don't know when I'm going to be able to go live. I'll do something live from the patio at some point. Pat's got his Guinness, so we're not doing the dry January or whatever. It looks like that's out the window. Good to have you back. You're not yourself, that Snickers commercial. You're not yourself when you're hungry. You're not yourself when
I'm sober.
You ain't yourself if you ain't drinking, Pat. It throws me off, makes me uncomfortable.
You know, John, I was gone so long. I went into the golf course yesterday, and Joe, the general manager, looks at me and he goes, "Where the F have you been?" I go, "What?" He goes, "You haven't been here in 3 weeks. We were going to send out a search party for you." He's like, "You're here every Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday."
I'm surprised those guys didn't know your plans, so they wouldn't be concerned about you.
No, I think they're just more worried about the loss in revenue.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Look at Blyberg. Is Johnny 3-star in a better mood? Oh, I'm always in a good mood. You guys got to realize.
He did piss you off this morning, though.
Pat, you got to understand. Like the other day when I threw my my neck wear, like, do you think I got done with the show and like it depressed me all day? That's just a part of this.
No, but you do owe Mark with glasses a better apology than what you gave him. You treated his hard time, effort, money with pretty good disrespect there, John. I mean,
I think he'll understand.
Mark with glasses, I would never give him anything again the way he treated your stuff.
Pat, it was one of those.
You're a Brian Kelly. That was Brian Kelly level prick move.
I didn't have a golf club to throw. I just was grabbing the nearest thing. I didn't have anything to throw. I didn't want to throw my headset because then that would go all over and ruin anyways. That happened.
Yeah,
all right.
Hold on. But Dowling, I'm not the head coach of a major college football program, so it's okay that I'm at the golf course.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I told my dad on St. Patrick's Day, we were talking about that, and I said, if I have a head coach that's good at golf, that's a red flag. You got to be good at golf after you retire. If I got a head coach good at golf while he's active, that's a red flag to me.
That was like the Goolsby Willingham story, saying he's chipping in the corner while the whole team is practicing. Are you kidding me?
That's unbelievable. However, my favorite Goolsby Willingham story is him saying that Ty used to rollerblade around with full arm pads, knee pads, a helmet, and those dorky sunshades. Just imagine Tyrone Willingham blading around campus.
Can you imagine? You know, I don't want to go down memory road, but God, I so wonder what would happen if George O'Leary was able to stay.
Yeah.
Where would we be right now?
Yeah, it was a series of wild events there. All right, let me get through the introduction. Pat, we do have some calls here. Some of these early people like to get in quick. Maybe we'll do that because I have a feeling me and you, once we get going, So maybe we'll do that. We'll get Tony in here and we'll get Dr. John going and we'll see where we're at. How about that as a plan? Thank you for being here, everybody. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Hit subscribe, all that stuff. Twitter, Always Irish. I'm not going to hit you with all this 2 times in a day. The call-in lines, 312-988-15. Patreon.com/alwaysirish. Former captain, leading tackler Mike Goolsby and myself go there, or B Square. How about those nerds from Yale took down Auburn? Oh, the best part about that, Pat, I got to admit this. Lane Kiffin has gone from a guy I despised to a guy I absolutely love and think he's good for the game.
I do too.
His personality now, it's like he quit trying to live in dad's shadow and be a tough guy. Now he kind of owns everything. He's so likable. He's so funny on Twitter. He trolls everybody nonstop. It's hilarious. He was trolling Auburn. They put out a tweet, "We're about to start March Madness. Root us on." And after they lost, he responded like "good luck" or something like that. It's just, he's changed his personality completely, and I love it. I wish he would quit pursuing Deuce Knight, but that's a different story. I don't blame him for doing that, but he is hilarious.
By the way, did you see the co-ed he's dating?
No.
Oh,
no. Send it later. Send me that one when we're done.
Yeah. She's pretty nice looking.
Let's
because he's not an attractive man. He looks like me. So
who? You and Deuce
Lane
Knight?
Yeah.
I can see the resemblance. What are you talking about?
Talk about Lane Kiffin.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Deuce. I don't see I don't see any similarity. All right, let's do it.
I don't have that SEC talent.
Let's do a couple super chats. My main man Martinez with the $10 holla. Oh yeah, baby. Friday Night Lights. Let's go, Johnny. Oh, Rodney, what's going on? I knew there were more to the ND finances in the CFP. Yeah, they definitely ended up negotiating a great deal. Now we got to see what happens with the ACC. $20 holler from Omer TD. Tony, it's always good to have you, brother. A $2 holler from Steven. Have a great time in Florida. It'll be warmer than here. It's supposed to be crappy all next week. Supposed to be crappy here. Raining, all that stuff.
I'm playing Sunday, though.
Are you? I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like.
41. Chili Open. It's the Chili Open. It's the first scramble of the year.
Oh, that's going to be chilly. So is Goolsby the all-time leading tackler? I believe on that team, he was the captain for leading tackler. And the reason I bring that up is because I always say, you can't be a captain to me unless you're a winner on the field. You can't not be great on the field and be a captain. It doesn't work. You got to have both. Leadership off it and perform on it. So I always mention he wasn't just a captain because he was a captain. He earned that. There you go. You got the salute. Yeah, it was. Adam gets all of our weather, Pat. So whenever we get a bunch of crap, I'll message him like, buddy, it's coming your way right across the border.
I didn't get snow. We just got some freezing rain and it's good now.
Yeah.
They got 8 inches of snow on the Illinois-Wisconsin border, or at least that's what I was told this morning.
That's absurd.
Unbelievable.
Too late in the year for that. All right, Pat, let's do a couple of these calls and then we'll see where that's at. And then me and you will go. People watching basketball, doing stuff, whatever. I want to talk to you, but I want to honor these calls. Dr. John, what's going on, brother?
Hey, good evening, lads.
What's up, my friend?
I wish I was having a Guinness instead of what I'm having right now because it was an experimental drink. I'm having a little
water with Cialis
and jalapeno juice.
Ooh, Dr. John, that's too, buddy, that's too spicy for my life. You're way too spicy for me.
It's not bad.
Ooh, man.
It's not bad at all. Hey, before we get into the conversation we're supposed to have, will you guys have your mics open during the prelim?
Dr. John, what it is
Shut up. No. Don't explain this because then everyone's going to call in.
Never mind. I'll message you later and tell you what happened, Dr. John. We don't want to tell everybody the secret. I'll email you. There's a technical reason that happened that I overlooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while for us, all right? We haven't done this.
There's no way I can blackmail him. So
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry. It was only all of his family drama and details. Don't worry about it. No big deal.
all right. All right. Well, now the reason I wanted to talk to you tonight is I think we were just talking past each other today because I have no qualms with your theory. This is the plan at all. I'm sure that is the plan to bring Leonard in as a starter. All I was saying was, regardless of what NIL he was promised, if I'm the coach, okay, that may be my plan. This guy's going to be my starter. But in spring ball, if suddenly one of these other guys is doing lights out and I can see that he's going to be better than Leonard, I don't care about the NIL money. He's still going to get it, but I'm going to start my best guy at quarterback. I want to win.
Yeah. I think here's the question I have about that, Dr. John. And I mean this genuinely. And I'm really glad you're calling in to clarify. Here would be my question. If that is your plan, you went and got the money and you did this, and this is your plan going into spring. My question is, how much better does that other guy have to be for you to interrupt that plan and scrap it with everything involved? That's the question I have, is how impressed do you have to be by somebody else to scrap a plan that is totally public? That's the thing. When you do the Riley Leonard thing and it's NIL money and everybody knows it's a big amount, and that is your public plan, is to bring him in here. That's what I wonder. How much better does the other guy have to be for you to scrap that? And I don't have the question to that. Because I guess I can't disagree with you. I just wonder where that line is that you're willing to cross to scrap all that. Because it seems like they wanted Riley Leonard, and that is the plan. And so I just don't know where that tipping point would be.
Well, I don't know where the tipping point would be either. But if I'm a good coach, I'm going to say, which guy gives me the best chance to win, and nothing else makes any difference.
I think that's fair. I mean, that I can't push back on you on that, right, Pat? I mean, that's a fair perspective.
That's exactly what it should be. I'm all for that guy getting money. I'm all for that guy getting the look to be the number one guy. But at the end of the day, if he's being outplayed, he'll see it too. He'll see if it's close, he'll start. If it's not close, if one of those backups is really the guy and it's obvious he's the guy, he won't. They'll play the guy that's going to win.
Yeah,
that's what I believe.
Yeah,
Freeman. You made a point, John, about they paid him the money. The boosters are going to want to see a return on their investment. Whoever's donated that money. Well, Marcus Freeman's life, his career is on the line, so he's not going to give a damn about the boosters if they want to see Riley Leonard win. That's the only point I have to make about it. But if he thinks there's a better option for him to win, he's going to make sure he's going to take that option to win, because he'll get the boosters on board anyways if he wins.
But my pushback on that would be, isn't a lot of that evaluation done before they get Riley Leonard? You have to do that evaluation before you go down this road and have really good before you bring this in and create a mess or have money out there. And then so that's my contention, is they feel like they already know what they have, and that's why they wanted Riley Leonard. That alone signals to me where they think this is at now. But what Dr. John's saying, if a guy comes out and Michael Jordan's it out of nowhere and he's unbelievable, then you have a different situation. But I just think they know what they want, and they have their mindset on what they want to do.
Well, I'll give it back to Dr. John in a second, but
sure
they know what. Yeah,
that's why. That's why they brought him in. But
Right.
you know what? A good leader, I don't care if it's a company or a football team, a good leader has a plan, and he's running his plan. But as soon as he has other information that says, hey, I got to change that plan, then he changes it. And if somebody starts looking like that's the guy that's going to help us win, that's the guy you start.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. It would cause issues. You would have some. It would be a weird situation that they want to avoid. And so, but I agree with you in theory. I cannot disagree. That's the right way to look at it. For right now, the way I see this is, barring health, Riley Leonard's the starter. No matter what story you read in the spring, Riley Leonard's the starter if he's healthy. They're going to have it probably, and Jelly's going to be the backup. And then the other two guys, if they stick around next year, we have a big competition and a whole different situation.
Yeah. Well, what are we? We just completed day 2, right?
Yeah, I think it's day 2, day 3.
We got a ways. We got a ways to go. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that if Freeman is the coach I think he is, he's not going to worry about scrapping a plan if he's got new information or he's got a guy that suddenly has blossomed and he thinks that's the guy that's going to help us win. He's got to start him. Yeah,
that's fair enough. And I think, I can't argue with that. It would just be really hard to go back on this public plan. That would just be a weird look, but you got to do what you got to do to win games. Like, I understand what you're saying. I just think they would have to be blown away by what they see. If it's close at all, Riley Leonard's going to be the starter. But I can't disagree with you in theory. That's a perfectly fair, the way you're looking at it's perfectly fair.
Yeah, and I don't have any qualms with you saying this is the plan, because I'm sure it is the plan. But a good coach, a great coach, isn't going to worry about scrapping his plans if something else gives him a better chance to win. That's the bottom line to me. Yeah,
that's fair, Dr. John. And then moving forward in the future, I do hope Notre Dame gets on a path of a homegrown guy they recruit that can develop, matriculate through Notre Dame with the team, develop some chemistry, not be one and done. I think that is ultimately Notre Dame's best chance for long-term stability and success. And I hope we could get on that track next year. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, I do too. Well, I here's my prediction. That first snap in at Texas A&M is going to be somebody besides Leonard.
Ooh.
Don't hold me to that.
Ooh. Well, wait a second. We just did this whole call where you were like, I understand. Are you planning on the guy tweaking an ankle, or are you saying now that he's going to get beat out?
No, I'm just trying to jerk that chain around your neck a little bit.
I already jerked this chain once this week. I almost broke it.
Leave the man alone.
I know you did. Hey, guys, I'm gonna get off the phone and watch you guys so I can see in real time rather than
all right
the way I'm looking at right now, okay?
All right. Enjoy those drinks, my friend. Take care.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back.
So you already jerked your chain once this week?
Well, I mean, today.
I find that hard to believe, John. I've known you a long time.
Pat, maybe you need to go on a vacation again, okay? Leave me out of this. Leave me and my chain jerking out of this. God, you never know what you're going to get on a night show, okay? You never know. Look at Angela. She knows.
Angela, you know his routine as well. You know what his routine is.
Guys are jerks.
I'm sure it's still his routine.
Unbelievable.
This is
Pat,
like Twitter
you're gonna get me in trouble. Tony, what's going on a Friday night?
Tony.
Hey, hi John, hi Pat. Welcome back, Cotter.
There you
Thanks,
go,
Tony.
Pat,
welcome back. Hey,
I thought you
Tony, are you guys doing St. Patrick's Day tonight? Are you doing a late St. Patrick's Day celebration? Happy St. Patrick's Day late to you. If you are, you said you were having some friends over or something.
Yes, we did, and they left, and that's why I missed what Dr. John might have been talking about with the open mic on the phone line early. They left, but I got down in time to get in for the show. Yeah, we had some friends over. We had our corned beef and cabbage and carrots and potatoes and soda bread and lots of wine and had a great time. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's good for you, man. What's on your mind, Tony? It's good to catch you 2 weeks in a row here, buddy.
Well, it's nice that you have a night show, John.
Yeah, I guess that's the way it works.
Yeah, I listened to you during the day, but I never. But yeah, things are going well. It's shitty weather here in beautiful Northeast Ohio, and probably a lot like Chicago or that Illinois area anyhow. But,
yeah, we've been getting some snow. We've been getting freezing rain. We got some snow. We got problems. Tony, I got to tell you, I am impressed with, I don't know why this popped in my mind. I'm impressed with Notre Dame's negotiations here in the CFP. I think they did a great job. I think Notre Dame's in a pretty decent place. They did great.
Well, if the money is what we're seeing and hearing and reading, yeah, I mean, we fall $3 million behind the big boys. That hell, I love what you said the other day, where we got people get out of their cars in the parking lot and $3 million drops out of their pocket. That's not a big deal. But yeah, that puts us in a pretty good position, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame did a really good job there, threading the needle of reasonable playoff access. And I think we all agree losing the bye is not ideal, but we're willing to do it. And then the money, if you're in the field, it's close enough you can live that way. My short to medium term concern would be what happens with the ACC. If it totally falls apart, then what is Notre Dame forced to do to house all those other programs? But for what Notre Dame can control, they did a really good job. And now I want to bring the focus back to on the field, where it should be. So that'll be good.
That's right. Do you have any idea who was on that negotiating team?
I'm imagining Jack was still involved. So I would have.
Jack had to be there.
It was Jack and Bavacqua, and then probably their lawyers. That'd be my guess.
Yeah. Well,
which both of them are lawyers.
I mean, I'm like you. I've never been a big Swarbrick fan, but he is who he is, and he's done a lot of good things for Notre Dame. And I know he hired somebody that's special to me. So I can't say a whole lot about it.
That's a good point. That is a good point, Tony. And you know what? Jack has done a lot of really good things. Nobody can deny he hasn't done a lot of good things. The reality is, when you're the AD at Notre Dame, if football isn't elite in your time, there's a cap on how you're going to be perceived in history. And that's just the way it's going to be at Notre Dame. And your legacy's always linked to football, no matter how many titles in other sports you have. But he did get a lot of things done for Notre Dame. Like, it's not all bad. He did a lot of good. I do think he's got kind of a quirky personality, not the warmest guy to chat up. And I think that's, sometimes something that he's had to wrestle with.
Yeah, I've been in his presence. He obviously, just being around. It's not that he knows who I am or what I am, but he was personable, but he wasn't the warmest fellow in the world.
Yeah, that's kind of Jack's deal. So good for him, man. Go into retirement, whatever. He made a lot of money. He did do a lot of good. He did a lot of good for Notre Dame. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Tony, what do you make of spring practice? They had the break and now we're back, and sounds like there's a lot of speed on this team that we haven't seen before. The quarterbacks, everybody's interested in all of them, which is new for Notre Dame. What's on your mind with that? I mean, things are coming along.
Well, what's on my mind is making that offensive line mesh. Being an offensive lineman, 50 years ago, or 55 years ago. That's what I always look at, and I think there's plenty of talent there. It's just a matter of whether or not they're going to mesh and how well they're going to play. But I have faith. I think they're in a good place, and all the skill positions are looking up. Obviously, the quarterback situation, and I don't agree with Dr. John. I believe the same thing you do. They didn't bring Leonard in here to hold the clipboard. They looked at what they had, and I have faith in Freeman and Denbrock and Gaduli that they're going to play the best person. But they didn't bring Leonard in because they thought they had the best person already on the team, or they wouldn't have brought him in.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. Also, it's a big decision when you bring in a quarterback. It instantly alters the vibe in the locker room, the power dynamic, the leadership dynamic. The quarterback's the most important player. You don't take those decisions lightly. You wouldn't want to mess with the chemistry you have in that room unless you were pretty sure you kind of knew what you wanted to do. So that's kind of how I see it. But I do admit I am fully ready for Notre Dame to get back to homegrown a quarterback, recruit a guy, develop them, let them all grow together. That's where I want Notre Dame to be. Have a guy more than 1 year. You could build some team chemistry. I hope we start getting there next year.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I hope so too. Conversations in the past have, there's no doubt about it. You cannot win at the top levels of this game without an elite quarterback, and no matter how good you are, it's just the way it is, and it's a shame that that's the way it is because it is the ultimate team game. But you still need an elite level quarterback, and if you don't have that, chances of winning aren't great.
Yeah,
not that it hasn't happened; it certainly has, but.
Yeah. And Tony, before your time here, Pat, do what you need to do. Before your time in Notre Dame land, Tony, we've been through this. We've been through the quarterback isn't good enough to carry the team for like 25 years now. Like we shouldn't need we've been through this, and you need to find a guy that could put the team on his back, lead you to victory, old Notre Dame style. And we just haven't had that in a very long time. The defense, God love them, has been the backbone of this program for like the last 15 years. It seems like, well, other than the Brian Van Gorder years. But it's been a defensive led thing, and I love that. But in the playoff era, you need an offense that could keep up and score. So we need to get there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And being a Penn Stater, we didn't always have great quarterbacks either. And when we did have a good one, we did pretty well. But when we didn't, we won 10 games, we won 9 games, we won 11 games, but we didn't win national championships. So yeah, I'm fully aware. I'm fully aware of that feeling that you guys have lived through all these years. I didn't live through it till recently, but it is what it is. And I think having both sides of the ball playing very well will be a whole new light on the fandom and the success of this program. And
I know.
I'm just hoping that's where we are at this point.
Tony, it is amazing. It's like it blows my mind to think about. Look at how good Notre Dame's been lately. Pretty much one-sided with the defense doing almost everything. The reason you're winning games, the defense is doing a lot. It would be amazing if that offense could carry their part of this. And we just haven't had that in too long.
Didn't we have that same hope this time last year?
Yeah, we did. I know. One of these years.
Yeah, we did.
One of these years we're going to strike gold here. But I don't know. I want us to get on a path with a homegrown guy that can develop around everybody. I just feel for Notre Dame, that's going to give us the most stability. And I'm really hoping next year they feel confident enough in what's in that room to try and start doing that. And then we go from there.
Well, if you look at the room, and I hear people on your show and read some of the comments that people are complaining about this, complaining about that. But when's the last time Notre Dame had a a 4-quarterback room with this much talent?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah,
it's before my time.
It's before my time too. I don't. It's a really good problem to have, actually. We went from, usually there's some years where I'm not excited for any of the quarterbacks because I know even the starter isn't going to be good enough to get us where we want to be. And now you're in a position where you have 4 guys, everybody's genuinely interested in seeing play. That's a good problem to have. Yeah, it's complicated because now you have to make more tough decisions. And that pressure's on Marcus and his team. And so I don't have to make those decisions. So I'm for all the quarterback depth in the world because I don't have to be the one to break the bad news to somebody that isn't going to play, you know?
Well, and every year, if you can recruit one of the top quarterbacks in the country, that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. And yeah, as soon as somebody's going to leave, and in this day and age, and okay, it might hurt a little bit, but somebody's going to leave. But at least you know you have talent there. Whoever leaves, you're still going to have talent there.
Yeah. You're going to have talent. And then what that does is it breeds more competition too. When you have all those guys that all feel good about themselves, they all have legitimate upside. That's how you crank up the competition. It's a good problem to have. And then you have Deuce Knight coming in 25, who is by far the most athletic guy, not polished at all. I'm not saying he's a polished quarterback. He is an athlete Notre Dame does not get. And he loves Marcus. He loves Notre Dame. The mom loves Notre Dame. That's a kid that's an SEC kid, and he's committed to Notre Dame and loves Notre Dame. And they're already cooking on 26 high-level quarterbacks. So we've been asking forever for Notre Dame to prioritize recruiting these quarterbacks and making them work. And I feel like maybe we're close to getting there. I don't know. Hope so.
I think some people are a little shy to recognize that great athletes, no matter what level you're at, what sport you're at, they love competition. And great athletes aren't going to shy away because they don't have competition. They want competition. And that's a great sign. That's a great sign of a healthy program.
Yeah, it's you're exactly right about that. So I don't know. I'm excited about this. I'm excited to see what the rest of spring brings. I'm excited for the blue and gold game. I want to see these guys run. I want to see this team is getting faster on both sides of the ball. And I really want to see these athletes run around. I'm very excited. And, you know, I might be excited to see all my people too for blue and gold weekend. That's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah. And I was just looking at the weather forecast, the spring game, 5 weeks out, 5 weeks from tomorrow, according to my AccuWeather forecast, the look-ahead forecast, 66 degrees and sunny. Can you imagine that?
Tony, you just jinxed us. Now, just because you told me that, it's going to be half of that with freezing rain. Thanks a lot. You jinxed us, man. 5 weeks is a long time.
Yeah, it'll change 100 times till then.
Yeah.
But one other thing I wanted to mention, Dr. John, who preceded me, and who I met at the regular season game last year, there was tailgate. He's drinking tequila and jalapeno juice.
Ooh,
I don't want to be around him tomorrow. I don't want to be around him tomorrow morning.
I don't want to be around him tonight.
Yeah, he's going to be breathing fire. Dr. John will say something to you and light the room on fire. I mean, that's too spicy for me. You guys know my food taste. That's too spicy for me, man.
I'm not worried about I'm worried about tomorrow morning in the shit house.
Hey, that's his problem. I'm glad I'm not there for it. He can navigate that however he wishes. Get that Pepto-Bismol, Dr. John.
Two more quick points, and I'll let you go. Number one is when are you going to show us that fireside chat set you have and that nice, calm little set that you put together the other side of your basement? I love that. That was wonderful.
Thank you. I want to change the lighting. There's a couple lighting things that made me look like I was jaundiced and possibly dying. And so I wanted to adjust the lighting. So I bought a couple things that I'm hoping come like a filter for my lights. So that's a part of it. Tony, the other thing, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Where I'm at now is in a room with the door closed with like the foam stuff on the walls to insulate and keep the sound in. When I'm in the other part of the room, when I'm in the other part of the room and I'm doing a show or yelling upstairs, I keep the kid up. Everybody can hear everything, so it's a little loud too. And I want to keep it contained as much as I can.
What do you mean when you're yelling? I've never heard you yell.
Yeah. Good one. Good one.
Hey, Carter, you've been quiet. What the hell's going on?
I had as John was saying, when you're here yelling, I woke my kid up, so I had to go put her back down to bed.
Oh man, what a good dad, Pat. Man, you just dad of the year. Good job, Pat. With Tony, we're excited to see you, man. We're gonna have fun here in a few weeks.
Shall I bring my Lewski?
If you're not going to bring your Lewski to this event, what would you bring it to? Like, this is the perfect Lewski event.
Absolutely. And I'm playing in a golf tournament back in PA the first weekend of June, and the Notre Dame Club golf tournament. And I told them I'm bringing my Lewski, and it has 4 holes in it for 4 shots, so they can borrow it and make some money at whatever hole they want and sell shots for the good of the organization.
Oh, that's beautiful. I like that, man. Yeah, you may as well bring the Lewski, man. That's what it's for.
Well, I actually have 2 of them, because the first one they sent me, the United States Postal Service destroyed, and it was in 3 pieces. I think I sent you a picture of that.
Yeah.
John. And
it made me laugh.
But they did replace it, and I have a friend who fixed it. As a matter of fact, the guy that was here tonight for our St. Patty's Day dinner, he repaired the broken one, but it's a little ragged. But now I have 2 of them.
Yeah, there you go. Now you have 2. If there's a group you really don't trust, let them use the half broken one. How much more damage can they do to it? If they drop it or whatever. Oh man.
All right, Johnny.
All right. Hey,
good talking to you.
Yeah, you too, man. And we'll see you in a few weeks here. And God bless you, my friend. You guys take care. Okay.
Well, keep Patreon going. You did some good shit this week. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, man. We dug kind of deep this week, so thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, love you guys. Take care.
Take care. We'll see you soon. Oh man, do you see this? It says Dr. John is the founder of the Passport Bro movement.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Dr. John's up to something. That guy's a player, Pat. He's a player. There's some mystery there. He's a player of some sort. I just don't know what kind.
Tony's sitting there saying he wouldn't want to be Dr. John tomorrow morning. I wouldn't want to be on the other end of the Dr. John Cialis tonight if he's drinking tequila and hot sauce.
Oh boy, that ain't not the drink for me. Look at him. Did you see? He said, "I think this combo is a good combo." He's getting lit up, Dr. John. You better behave yourself, Dr. John. Come on.
John, I had a thought go through my head.
Well, that's a bad start.
You know how we do the Wild Bunch tournament down here every year?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 7-hour drunk fest of golf.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I put together an Always Irish team, and we get Tony, and we get Dr. John, and we get you, and we'll get someone else in there, and we could have a nice little group of.
How are we going to get all these people to come to Illinois, though?
Well, we're not.
But it's good in theory. All right, let me show. There's something I
shooting fire and taking out eyes.
What?
Blyberg.
What did he say? Man, you never know what you're gonna get here. That's a good one. Stop laughing. I can't stop laughing.
It's so good.
My stomach hurts. Man, why does this always happen? Why does this always happen? I just want to talk about football. Now you turn more colors than Brian Kelly.
It was so
Oh, man.
oh shit.
Dude, that is next level.
Oh, Blyberg, that's the winner, man. Oh
My
my
main
God.
man, Martinez. What's up, brother?
Hey, Johnny, how you guys doing?
I'm doing very well, my friend. What's up with you on a Friday night, man?
Nah, just here with my family, enjoying it, watching the show, listening to it. Glad Connor's back too, man.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
thank
Welcome
you.
back, Cotter. He's back in the mix. He's drinking again. He's back to normal.
Whew.
Hey, you want me to tell you something? I love this show, this Irish Nation. Dr. John, you know, there's a chain lingerie and sex novelty boutique business out here called Dr. John out here in Utah, in Mormon country. It's a whole freaking like chain stores of lingerie and sex novelty boutiques, man.
Come
That's like
on.
what you guys say.
And it's really called,
I'm
and it's
serious. I'm dead serious.
it's called
I'm
Dr.
dead
John's.
serious.
It's called Dr. John's, and
It's
it's
called Dr. John's.
lingerie.
But yeah, I'll get you your email. I'll go buy one. I'll take a photo and I'll shoot it to you, and you can shoot it to him. It's called Dr. John.
He probably owns the entire business and franchised it out. This dude's a player. He's a player. He's an international player. He is. He's the original.
Yeah, so-
he's the original player from the Himalaya. Like he's something.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, like, that's funny when I hear all the guys on the comments saying that. But yeah, out here in the middle of Mormon country, they got a whole freaking chain of them. But so that's funny. But hey, I wanted to just touch base on some things we've talked in the past. I'm not going to touch on the QB thing. We already know who the starter is, and you know, for me, I disagree. I think it should be Angeli, but that's my opinion, right? But I wanted to talk a little bit about the conference thing and how some guys were kind of. It seemed like some ND fans were paranoid that they should really go to the Big Ten or the ACC. Personally, for me, I don't think that they should ever do that because it's the brand, right? It's the brand. The brand, college football, like I've said this over and over, owes us a debt of gratitude. They created the forward pass. We're the reason why teams travel across the country. God, we're the reason why we even, have big stadiums. It's like you even said, anytime ND comes in town, right? It's the Super Bowl. Georgia had to bring in more seating. You ought to see. We filled up Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas when we played BYU. Even when Utah went up to South Bend that one time, some of the guys that I used to, the customers that come to the sports bar, they went and bought a whole bunch of Notre Dame stuff because it's Notre Dame. Even at the game down in Vegas, you had a line of BYU fans buying Notre Dame memorabilia because it's the brand, And I just want to touch on that. I think whatever Babakwa did to get that deal, man, my hat off to him.
They did a good job. I think they did a good job.
I think it's important.
They threaded the needle. And the needle that needed to be threaded was reasonable playoff access, check, and within financial reach of the Big Two, check. They did a good job.
Yeah, and so I'm excited about that, man, because I really think. I mean, I hear comments of being in a conference, it would expose us, whatever. I don't think so. I think it would expose the other conferences. And I've said this before, and I'll stand by it. Now you said this in the last show about 2 shows ago. Now you got Texas and Oklahoma, right? I would say it's Texas and Oklahoma, and then now they got Alabama, Georgia, and LSU, right? 5 teams out of 16 that they're going to have that really are dominant, that are going to be dominant. Okay, the Big Ten's been the same way. I mean, we could all agree to disagree, but the truth is the Big Ten has Michigan, Ohio State, and maybe Penn State, and then the rest of the other guys finish it. Iowa finishes 10-2 in their conference. I mean, Wisconsin might have a good bust out year, but I mean, the rest of these conferences, they're all just, like I said, they're at the most 3 elite teams. I mean, you really can't.
But what do you do? Oh, listen, I understand what you're saying, but what do you do if the ACC caves? Florida State and Clemson look like they're suing to get out. What do you do then
I saw
if
that.
they fold and all of our other sports are going to need a place to play? That's where I'm worried Notre Dame gets backed into a corner. What would you do about that?
And that you're right, because Michigan hates us so bad, right? And the guy from the Big Ten Conference, he's like ties with Michigan or something. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, with the academic thing, they'll try to go to, you know, the Big Ten, or, I mean, maybe they take them back to the Big East, and Notre Dame remains separate. I think you would just have to find a conference that aligns with academics of schools, because, like, as much as I do love the girls team, and I have season tickets to the girls basketball team, because I said me and my daughter are big fans, just more because my daughter played basketball. But I think you always leave the football team independent, and you put them in a conference where it aligns with the academics. That's my opinion.
I think the Big Ten aligns with the academics very well. Notre Dame got that AAU accreditation that lines up with the Big Ten. I just think that's where they would lean. Here's the other thing. I want to ask you, Pat, I want to ask you this too.
Yeah.
Somebody brought up the other day, could Notre Dame do with the Big Ten what they did with the ACC? Like if the ACC folds and then they get all the other sports in there, but then they do the thing with the football not full. Pat, I think that those days are over. I think they're going to go.
Why would the Big Ten want to do that?
I think it's time they're going to go, listen, you guys, like the bell is rung here. It's time. And so I don't think you're going to be able to get a partial deal the way we did with the ACC.
Yeah,
I think those days are over.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and that's what I just said right now. Like, I think if they would go with the Big Ten, knowing how much that, you know, Michigan has so much influence in that conference and how much they hate us, I don't think they would allow it. And unfortunately, I have to agree with you on that. That they backed us up into that corner, which would be a bad day for Notre Dame football.
Go ahead, Pat.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's Michigan so much as that they just don't have to. There's no leverage for Notre Dame to get them to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
I
not
agree.
about any one individual school.
I agree. And the other thing is, people have been telling me, oh, I've been getting these messages on Twitter, you guys, where they're going, I put out a tweet, you know, what happens if the ACC caves? What happens with Notre Dame? And people are saying to me, they're saying to me, the Big Ten's going to play hardball with Notre Dame and try and not let them in if the ACC folds, and they're going to play tough with Notre Dame. No, they're not. They're going to accept them with open arms, hug them, and say, let's make a bunch of money. They're not going to play hard, but they'd be happy to get Notre Dame and take that extra prestige and money and a victory lap, because they're going to feel like you guys tried to do it on your own. You couldn't do it. You came back to us. Yeah. They're going to love it if this happens.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's set up.
Hey, are you drinking any fire drinks, or what do you got cooking tonight, buddy?
I got some Jim Beam apple.
You got some
Jim Beam apple.
Ooh, baby.
Mexican Irish, bro. The best of both fights.
There you go. I like that. Yeah. I like that. The Mexican leprechaun. I like that. That's a good nickname.
But like I tell you, another thing I wanted to touch base, there's a lot of positives, bro. I don't really want to keep digging in the past a lot of positives. But I read that, I've seen the interviews on Jagasol and Emil Wagner, and I think at that offensive line, it might take, going to Texas A&M because of the atmosphere and the caliber, and it's going to be their Super Bowl. And there might be a little struggles, but listening to those dudes talk, man, and listening, just the confidence they have. And I think that O-line's going to gel, man. I really do. I'm excited to see those guys, especially Charles Jackson. I mean, I'm telling you, it was something beautiful to see live, man, at that bowl game, how great he played in it, man. I mean, I was really proud of the dude. I got to meet him in person, man. I was pumped. But listening to him and Emil Wagner, and I see Tosh Baker, they sounded like they're going to gel really good, man.
I hope so. That's what they need. And you have no time to ease into this. You have a big SEC road game week 1. You don't have to be perfectly gelled. You don't have to be a perfectly finely put together unit. You just have to be good enough to survive with a win and then continue to gel as the schedule lightens up after that. until it ramps back up into Louisville at home. So that's how I see it.
Yeah. And then one last thing, and then I'm going to tell you one funny story. I'm going to take real quick, but one last thing. I listened to Al Washington too, man, and I'm really hyped about what that dude's doing. They say Gabriel Rubio's back, and I think he's roommate with number 47. I forget the name. So that's good because that gives us a little bit more depth in the middle. Because I know we got Botello and Junior Falemaca for the Viper, and we got the kid from Duke. So now you got Mills, Cross. Hopefully Rubio will come back. So I'm pumped about that D-line. I think Al Washington's doing a good job as far as building that on that D-line.
Yeah, and that's a big another thing. We talk about that offensive line needing to be very good if we're going to be good. The defensive line, we feel really good up the middle. I need those edge guys to be able to cause some damage. So that's what I'm looking for them to do.
Agreed. Okay, here's the last story. Funny story, right? You know how Dr. John's drinking that tequila with jalapeno juice?
Yeah.
Okay, at the sports bar that I worked with, there was a group of rich tennis guys. They used to come in. They used to get picklebacks, right? They'd have vodka and then shoot it back with pickle juice. They call them picklebacks.
Oh.
And I told them, why do a jalapeno juice? You know that? What's jalapeno juice? We'll call it a wet back. And he goes, yeah, hey, imagine asking the waitress, hey, can I get 5 wet bags?
Dude.
Sorry, I hope it's funny though. It's funny. I mean, imagine saying that, hey, wait, can I get, but they're like, no. They were like, no, I can't say that. I can say it. I'm Mexican.
Oh, man.
I know.
I'm telling you, you never know where this show's going to go, man. You never know what direction. And it's just Dr. John ignited it all. Hey, man, have a good weekend. Thanks for calling me. Enjoy the March Madness and all that.
You too, guys, man. Have a good one.
Have a good one, man. Thank you for the donation too, man. You pay for these phone lines and it keeps them going. Rodney, you're going to be up next. Pat, anything on your mind?
Yeah. So the whole ACC and Big Ten thing, I think so I saw a comment in the chat that said Notre Dame just needs to go into the ACC and save the ACC. Notre Dame cannot join the ACC. They can't do it. They have a contract with NBC. The ACC has a contract with ESPN.
Why would Notre Dame jump in there?
They wouldn't. It's not. But I saw a comment in the chat that said Notre Dame could just go and save the ACC by joining the ACC. I agree that if Notre Dame full footballed into the ACC, they would save the ACC.
But how does that change that long-term money agreement that nobody likes? Just because Notre Dame joins?
Because then then Notre Dame can go in and wave their big dick around and renegotiate with ESPN.
Oh,
that's what the ACC needs.
No.
That's what it's not going to happen because Notre Dame's got their deal with NBC. Notre Dame's never going to give that deal up. So the ACC,
you know what this would be like, Pat?
Stuck.
Doing that would be the equivalent of having a spot on a lifeboat on the Titanic and being out there floating around and being like, you know what? Actually, can you wheel me? Can we scoot ourselves back so I can climb back?
No, I do think that Notre Dame could save the ACC. I mean, don't forget, Notre Dame saved college football during the COVID year. College football would not have happened if it wasn't for Notre Dame. So, and I do think Notre Dame. So, just with that premise, if Notre Dame joined the ACC, they could completely renegotiate their deal because then all of a sudden, Clemson and Florida State might be like, okay, wait a second, we got power here, and then they could start having the conversation with ESPN to say, look, we need to. Let me put it this way. If Notre Dame wanted to save the ACC and they're willing to walk away from their NBC contract, which I don't know what that it would actually look like, if it is even possible. But if they wanted to save the ACC, they would go to ESPN and say, we're going to join the ACC only if you change this contract. I guarantee you ESPN would change that contract to get Notre Dame into that conference. Because remember, ESPN would love to carry those games. That is never going to happen, though. That is never going to happen. I'm just saying Notre Dame could do it if they wanted to. Yeah. It will never happen.
I don't even look at that as an option. It's not even on my radar to consider at all.
There's no actual gain for Notre Dame for that.
Yeah.
No gain whatsoever.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is better off with the Big Ten if they're going to join.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and there's more money there. It's a better schedule.
USC is there. And USC is there. No, there's more guaranteed money. I'm saying I think they could change that contract with ESPN, but there's more USC is there. So Notre Dame's going to follow USC if they're going to join a conference.
There's really no downside to joining the Big Ten other than I have to run a funeral for independence, but you have more power. You're in a power C position in the Big Two. Right. You're going to have more money and you're going to have a good schedule and your rivals on it. So if that is our backup plan, it's a really good plan B. Kent, good to have you here. Indy brings more tradition and rivalry to the Big Ten instead of staying Indy, and the money would be mind-blowing. Yeah, it would be. Drunk says you're Big Ten homers. I'm being honest. A Notre Dame Big Ten schedule, I would love way more than any Notre Dame ACC schedule, year in, year out, without doubt, hands down. It's not even close. The schedule would be way, way more compelling, in my opinion, week in and week out. So I don't know. Look at this, Pat. How would you respond to this one? What are your guys' comfort level with Riley Leonard as the starter? All honesty, what sets him apart? Have you guys watched the tape? Just asking. To me, the ability to be able to plan for him to use his legs or to have that as a weapon is a big feature that I think is going to open Notre Dame's offense up a lot.
He's definitely more dynamic than what we had last year. And he's just a bigger body. He's a bigger body, but he's that play against Ohio State where Hartman comes up short for that first down in the first half. He gets it. Riley Leonard gets that first down, but that's why Riley Leonard gets hurt, because he gets that first down. And so there's a give and take there with him. I'm not all that impressed with him. I do think it was the right move for Notre Dame. The way I look at it is with Notre Dame's defense and some of the emerging potential if this offensive line really comes together, as your dad was saying at the start of the show, I do think Notre Dame could put a real good football team together. And now you need a quarterback who he's not going to have to win 12 games or 15 games. He may need to win 2 or 3 games. And I think he's probably a talented enough player to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just think about all of the plays where if you got a guy with legs, a busted play isn't an 8-yard loss or a ball in the 8th row. You could just run. Like, it makes every play multidimensional, and that's something Notre Dame has not had. And if you're going to have an offensive line trying to find their way early, then that's another reason I like a guy that could spin out of there and run.
Move around. But yeah, you just don't know what you have with this guy for the simple fact that he played at Duke. And you didn't know what you're working with. You don't know what the equivalent is. He's probably working. I would hope he's working with better talent now. I don't know what the wide receiver room, but and I don't know if you could say Mike Denbrock. So you could probably say better coaches now. I don't know with this guy. I don't know. I got a false sense with Hartman. I thought that guy was just been able to sling it and move the offense. I still think that was more play calling than Hartman, but. We'll see. All this guy's got to do, at least in the beginning of the year, is be a game manager.
The receiver situation didn't help Hartman out either.
It didn't.
He has his own flaws.
There were several issues across that offense that, people, like, you can't lay it all on Hartman. You can't. He could have easily played better, but you can't lay it all on Hartman.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see what's up with Rodney. What's going on, buddy? Happy Friday, Rodney. Welcome.
Well, he's cheesing a lot, but we
got him on the spot. Welcome back. That's pretty good. We should take this on the road. That was a pretty good duet. We should take it on the road.
You're gonna have to create a theme song for me. So next time,
Illinois.
Yeah,
John.
Well, why don't you drive to Illinois? Drive to Illinois, and I'll be in Florida. Ain't that the way it goes? And then I had a guy from Memphis or somewhere down south that loved the show that he was coming to Chicago like a couple summers ago, and I was supposed to meet him. And then I dropped with COVID like the day before he was driving here. And I'm like, buddy, we were going to hang out. And I'm like, I'm down and out with the virus. You don't want to be over here, man. And so it just times out that way. Rodney, what do you make of all this? And Notre Dame ended up negotiating a good deal for the playoff. We're debating the quarterback situation. What do you think?
John, who's the one that called in on Monday? And I think I've talked about it a couple times and talked about the behind-the-scenes finances that we may not be privy to, or the things that are happening that have already happened but hasn't been released to the media yet that we're also not privy to. And, and talking to you, of course, with your, connection to Goolsby and some of your Irish alum contacts. And, of course, but didn't you get that feeling? And then, of course, a couple days later, it comes out that they're getting a much better deal than what was previously reported. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world, man. Like you said, and I kind of like the fact, in a weird way, man, they get $12 million regardless, so they're getting the same as the Big 12. And then there's that $6 million incentive, which that's a pretty good motivational factor for a football program to be like, okay, you're going to cost us half our, you have half of our initial pot there, if you want to use that as a term, of a money pot. And if you make the playoffs, you're basically spending $3 million of the Big Ten, and like you said, John, and the SEC, like you said, that's like that's nothing in Notre Dame. $3 million, that's nothing. That's a donor's, that's as easy as anything. So I think that the fact that they were able to make this happen doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all. And we live to see independence another day, man. We live another day. Yeah. Like you said, it may be inevitable at some point, maybe. But I'm going to tell you something, man. I think you brought up about the SEC or whoever brought it up. I mean, if they could get themselves, let's just say it gets to the point where it does look like, okay, this is something that it's inevitable. We just can't avoid it anymore. I mean, if they got into some sort of okay, who's going to give us the best deal here? Big 12, ACC, if you're teaming up, whatever. Hey, Big 10 over there, you want us? You had a chance many, many years ago. We messed that up. You got a chance to redeem yourself. Hey, SEC, I've been hearing some rumblings over here. What do I hear out of this here? I mean, hey, that would be the way to play the game. It's like, okay, and everybody out there doesn't want us to be independent. Who's got the best deal for us?
Man, a part of me feels like all the framework's in place for Notre Dame to just slide right in the Big Ten if they needed to. Like, they're already half in bed with the TV partner.
And that's fair, John. That's the way it is.
I just think that that's what it will be. And it's kind of obvious to me that they already have one foot in bed, but sharing the NBC deal. Like, that's just how I see it going. But you mentioned something good.
And that's very possible. And that's very possible. And if that works out that way, great. I'm just saying that I'm sure that there's what they proved to me, and they prove it many times over, just when you think you can doubt Notre Dame and some of the decisions that are made at the top, they pull out a shrewd one, and it's not shrewd to the negative, like I said before, not to the negative degree, but they're shrewd businessmen up there, man. They're not, they've been doing this a long time.
I got to give Notre Dame's leadership credit for fully understand. Sometimes in the past, I wasn't sure how much they understood about how we feel about everything. It's very clear to me that the Notre Dame leadership also values independence the way a lot of the fans do. And to see them go to bat and try and do everything they can to thread this needle, they did a great job. I criticize this group a lot when they don't do things the way I think they need to be done. They did a good job here. Really good job.
Well, John, I'm backtracking just a little bit, but let me throw just a scenario at you. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not saying this at all. But let's just say the Big Ten was like, okay, everything's pretty much set. Let's just pretend. Let's hypothetically say in 2 years, Notre Dame's joining the Big Ten. Okay, that's what's on the table. SEC jumps in and say, hey, Big Ten saying you got to play 8 games in conference to be a part of the Big Ten. we'll let you play 6 games and still be part of the SEC. And 6 mandatory games to be part of the. I'm just saying, if something like that came up, where it gave us a chance to be more independent, wow. Now maybe that's the big something, but I don't be surprised if Notre Dame has a special clause, which is going to keep everybody still hating us because we get special consideration, whether it's the Big Ten or the SEC or like this. What I think is going to happen, the Big 12 at ACC or what's left of the ACC at that point. We'll team up. That's what I think is going to happen. Whoever gives Notre Dame that best, and like you said, it may be the Big Ten. It probably is the Big Ten, John. I'm not even saying it's not. I'm just saying I think that's what to have those rumblings of competition. And I'm sure Greg Sankey's no idiot. I'm sure behind closed, there's been talks about, why not Notre Dame in the SEC? You're telling me the SEC wouldn't love to have Notre Dame there? Of course they would. So I'm just saying that, I kind of like the fact that if we do join the conference, it's going to be because we got a pretty damn good deal. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. You're right about that. Yep. I agree. I mean, it's Notre Dame did well getting that clause where they're allowed.
I like that polo always Irish insignia, man.
Look at that. Look at that. Rodney, I like that clause that they negotiated that allows Notre Dame to take a look at their contract with no financial penalty to readjust. They did some really good. They did some good negotiations here. I do not know where that $6 million kicker came from. It was not reported in any of the early reports on this. And then when it's finalized, there's an extra $6 million every year we make it. Good job by whoever negotiated that. Great job.
Well, and then, like I said, it also keeps things that's a great motivational tool to use for your football program. Hey man, if you get $6 million extra dollars, if you just get us in the playoffs every year, get me part of that 14. And by the way, that is just so I'm clear, that everything is theoretical right now, right? Or am I incorrect? Like, because what I had heard a few days ago.
Here's what I believe.
You mentioned that in your show.
I believe the money is finalized, but they're still tweaking the format of that's my understanding.
It's not like the whole thing's set in stone. It's just like, if it is set in stone, this is what the money will show.
The funniest part is, it's just funny to me that they figured out the money first and how it'll actually run will come later. We got to figure out the money first. But how's it going to run? Well, I don't know. We'll figure that out later, but we're sure we're getting all this money at least. I just think it's funny how they figured that out first.
The priorities of the elitist of the human being species. I mean, it's just,
money, baby. And so I don't know, but this all needs to start with Notre Dame planting their flag firmly in the first new expanded playoff, letting everybody know Notre Dame's going to be here, get used to it, spike that flag in the ground and let Notre Dame be a part of this. This is where it all starts.
And I wanted to talk just a little bit about the quarterback competition that was brought up.
Yeah. What do you think?
And what's that, John?
I said, what do you think?
Oh, yeah. So I think if it's close, Leonard, even if it looks like Angeli's won the competition in the spring, if it's close, Leonard's going to get it. And here's why. Leonard's got more starting experience. And I think even if you're not out playing him in practice, there's a different, we know all about, there's such a thing as game day players or players that, not to say they don't practice well, but they shine brighter in games. Leonard has, he's got some of that. He's got some of that it factor on game day. But, so if it's close, and I imagine it's going to be probably relatively close. I really do. I'm not to say Leonard will win it, but I'm saying, it wouldn't shock me if Angeli slightly won what the eyes tell us in the spring. But even so, it'll be Leonard, unless he's just absolutely just beaten, just outright, no doubt about it. Okay, we got to at least get this guy shot, or Leonard gets hurt, God forbid.
Yeah, here's
what I will say.
But the first thing is, listen, the way Leonard plays, there will probably be a time where the backup needs to play a significant role in this season, either for a half, a drive, a game. Though you need That's where if Angeli's the backup and we all feel good about him, then God bless us. We're in a good spot then, because
John, what's
you're going to need that guy.
On how many games Angeli? What's the over/under on the amount of games Angeli starts as a backup? I got it at 3.
Oh man, I was thinking like
two,
like 1.5. 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah.
1.5.
You want to believe, John. But I'm saying, what's the reality?
Man.
I'm saying that what's the over/under? I'm saying, okay, so you got it under. But I'm just saying, man, don't be a bit surprised. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing.
But hold on, Rodney. Hold on. Because, Rodney, if it's
quarterback, I really am.
Go ahead, Pat.
Rodney, if it's 1.5 for Angeli, it doesn't mean, Minchie might start a game. I'm just saying, if you're saying for Angeli, I'm saying 1.5.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Like what? Maybe 3. Okay. Let's put it this way then, guys. Let's say 3 is the number for the backup.
Man, this is tough.
Like over under 3. Yeah.
The other thing is, I don't even like talking about the injury thing because it's just so.
Oh, I know you don't. Want to talk about 2-3 losses either, but it may happen. You know what I mean? That's why it's like I'm preparing myself for everybody saying 11-1, 12-0, 11-1, 10-2 at the worst. Don't be a bit.
But Rodney, isn't it ironic though that I've had people be like, "You got to watch out for Riley Leonard, injury prone, whatever that ankle." But it's our fault too. We're the ones who problem, and now he's our guy. It's just all too ironic. Going up against his old coach.
Much more about that.
Man.
I wasn't relatively pleased with the way the backup position's looking. I mean, there's talent there. There's some experience now too with Angeli. So I'm not really that worried about it. Strangely enough, like, God, when Buckner, it was like, oh, if he gets hurt, and then it happened in the Marshall game. It happened in the Marshall game. But I'm not feeling that. And Hartman, this year too, it's like, if Hartman gets hurt, can Angeli handle that? Well, now we're a year beyond that. I think it's, I'm feeling pretty good. It's weird. I'm not like stressing about that. Even if, let's say, for argument's sake, Leonard goes down, Angeli goes down, Minchie goes down,
dude,
and Carr has to play.
Are these
feeling terrible about Carr?
Dude,
are you feeling better about Carr than you are about Pine?
Are these guys Rodney? Do you have these guys all falling off the team plane somewhere? How are they all getting injured?
I'm looking at what year was that Brian Kelly year where everybody got injured? Like,
oh my God! I don't even like you talking about it. I don't even like you talking about it. It's like you're gonna will it into reality. Stop.
I'm knocking on wood, John. I got wood in front of me. I'm knocking on it. I'm knocking on the wood.
Man,
no, dude, I don't think
Rodney, we're moving on from that.
I don't think it's gonna happen. But I do think that Riley Leonard will not play a full season. I do think there's going to be 2. I'll say under 3, but I'll say barely. I'll say like he there's a couple games where someone else is starting.
Yeah,
probably Angeli.
Yeah, it would probably be Angeli. I would. Pat.
No, but it could be like, let's say there's 3 games. Let's say there's 2 games that Angeli starts, but one's just because, I don't know, Leonard's maybe feeling a little, maybe had the cobwebs, maybe he's a little fuzzy that week, and we're playing like a team that's like 0-9 or something. Then I could see some doing something like that too, maybe where an Angeli would start. But I think it's probably 2 games. I just feel like that's probably going to happen. I just feel like he's not going to play a whole season, the entire season as the starter. I don't mean to split hairs, but that's just, I don't know. It just seems kind of obvious.
Well, it's good that Notre Dame's rebuilt that quarterback room, and we all feel a lot better about it.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
I don't feel bad about that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. This is the first year where I'm not like really, really, really super worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I get down to second string, then it's like, okay, there's no experience there. Okay. But even then there's talent. So it's like, I'm not as worried when Pine came in.
Yeah, I feel you that way too. I really do. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I'm with you, man. And hopefully we get to see them all in 5 weeks at the Blue and Gold game. Let them all rip. Can't wait.
Knocking on wood too. I bet Indy is knocking on wood too.
Oh man. Oh, Rodney, thanks for giving me a call on a Friday night, buddy.
Wood and Dr. John in the same sentence with all the stuff I was seeing on the chat. Wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'll let you guys go,
Oh,
man. You guys have a great night.
Have a good one,
Football
Rodney. Take care, buddy. Have a good one.
Football
We'll see you in a few weeks. Oh man, this group, you never know what you're gonna get. Any thoughts, Pat?
Yeah, all right. I'm so glad to be back doing this. I don't know if I find this stuff as funny when I'm just in the chat, but it's a lot funnier when I'm on the show.
Yeah, well, because your reaction, Bill, adds to it too, because you're seeing it live.
I know.
And you know what else too, Pat? Some of the creativity, some of the stuff in the chat, so creatively funny,
if it's creative,
even if it's inappropriate, like hilarious stuff,
or completely immature, immature, like childish shit. It's just, it touches a nerve with us. It's just, it's just too good. So going back to it, I wanted to touch on one thing. So the ACC in 2022, they haven't come out with their 2023 numbers. Dr. Josh, oh God. The ACC made $600 million, but the Big Ten made $850 million. So you're talking about $150 million difference. That's what you're talking about between these conferences. I do think that, and the SEC actually made $800 million. So this is going back to Rodney's point of Notre Dame playing against the SEC. I don't know how the Big Ten is the big money winner in this. Personally, I think the SEC has a better product. They probably just what it is the SEC doesn't have the same TV markets as what the Big Ten has. The Big Ten gets New York all the way to LA now, and the SEC is still regionalized. But I do think that I don't think Notre Dame would play.
That's a good point by you. Look at where their markets are all at.
Right.
Most
it's the markets. I don't think the Big Ten's a better product. I just think that the SEC is a better product, but it's just the money markets. Just like in the NFL, Fox has the bigger markets. Fox gets more money, pays more money to the NFL than what CBS does because of the market share that they get. So that's what's happening with the Big Ten. I don't think that Notre Dame would play the SEC against the Big Ten. I don't think Notre Dame needs to do that either. I don't think Notre Dame wants to do it. I don't think Notre Dame wants to go into the SEC. I think Notre Dame is more comfortable with the Big Ten. Again, It all goes for me. This is my conjecture. It goes back to USC. Notre Dame wants to be where USC is. They want to make sure they keep playing that football game. But otherwise, it's.
What about academic fit? The Big Ten
obviously
is
the
more
Big Ten.
natural academic fit than
now after Notre Dame joined that academic institution, it's done and gone. But the other piece was so go back to, I don't know if you remember this. Go back to when the BCS was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what Notre Dame's contract was with the BCS? When the BCS used to have its
I don't remember the details, but I know they got their own little deal.
$1 million every year, regardless if Notre Dame made it to a BCS. And so it was the BCS was a New Year's Six Bowl or the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame got $1 million every year, regardless if they made it to a BCS game. Do you know what Notre Dame got if they made it to a BCS game?
Don't remember.
$1 million. Notre Dame was guaranteed $1 million making it to a BCS or not. Now, Notre Dame is guaranteed a bag of cash and a bigger bag of cash if they make it to the playoff.
Yeah.
So, and Adam Dowling's all over it in the chat talking about where's all the criticism from Notre Dame. 2 weeks ago, everything about Notre Dame in the playoff was forcing Notre Dame into a conference. All of a sudden, the deal that Notre Dame just cut with the conference just guaranteed independence. Guaranteed independence.
Yeah.
At least until this contract runs out.
Yeah. Nope. It's a good point. You're getting a little pushback. Nobody's scared of Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi State, South Carolina, etc. Just stop with that nonsense.
Who said anyone is scared of them? Well, what about Georgia, Alabama, LSU? Tennessee's coming around. There's other. You name me Who's afraid of Northwestern Iowa and Minnesota and Rutgers and Maryland? Like, nobody gives a shit about those teams. There's a bottom of a barrel and there's a top of a barrel. You know, there's the top and the bottom. And it's here's my thing. I'm not afraid of anybody in any conference. I'll go play in the SEC. I'm not afraid to play the SEC. I think if Notre Dame truly wants to get better at football and compete at football, they should join the SEC. Compete against those guys straight up. You'll have to make your football program a hell of a lot better real quick. First going into the Big Ten.
How are you going to make up for the fact that we would still make our kids go to class and nobody there has to? That's a big problem when you jump down there.
Well, yeah.
It's a little competitive.
It's easy to say. It's easy to say. It's never going to happen. Notre Dame's never going to go to the SEC.
Yeah. Nope, never going to happen. 208, what's going on? Hello. They gone. I don't know what happened. They were on the line, but they gone now. They gone now, Pat. We got a $2 hour. Look at this. The Chief. I'm sloshed, but it's time to be good at football. That's exactly what I want our people to think about. Right when they're drunk, that's all you think about. You know what? It's time that Notre Dame's good at football again. I decided now that I have my 20th Japolino flavored drink or whatever. You know what that's from, Pat?
What?
There was a guy in like 25 years ago, and he used to call 670 The Score, Boers and Bernstein.
Yeah, I know. I remember Boers and Bernstein.
And he was like a Chicago character with the heavy Chicago accent, Chicago guy, like everything. It was like meatball-y central casting.
A 55-year-old Cotter.
Exactly. And they thought he was playing a role for like a bit when he calls in. They're like, you can't be real, but he really was real. And he used to complain about the Japolinos being too hot on the nachos at the ballpark, like all this stuff. And he'd go, them Japolinos, I can't even eat them. Why are they? Anyways, that's where that came from.
John, do you remember, was it freshman year? Remember the party at Ben's house? The fireworks party when your high school ex-girlfriend was there.
Oh yeah.
And she was trying to talk to you and I was running interference.
I don't think I remember that.
She had this friend who was pretty good looking, but she was wearing a Tennessee sweatshirt. Do you know where I'm going with this?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, you don't remember this? I was sloshed as well. And she was trying to get me away. And I said, hey, I don't know if you know what that shirt actually means, but it means you're only 10 IC. You shouldn't be wearing it. That's what I said to her. I don't know why that one sticks out, but if somebody said something about Tennessee in the chat, and it just story went right into my head. Oh, it's terrible.
Oh, Mark. You have no idea. Mark, you have no idea. Just you have no idea. There is more loose DNA at Pat's college house than any crime scene in America.
Easy.
I didn't say what kind. But there is more loose DNA at that 1016 address than the top 4 FBI.
Angela, shut up. Angela, shut up.
Oh, Angela, you're not allowed to opine on this one, Angela. You need to. Man,
everyone was a willing participant. We'll just say that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Pat, what else you got tonight here, man? I got to do some packing still. I got to write another article tonight before I leave. You got anything else? We took care of we did the calls.
I do want to bring up that on Wednesday I called in and I was talking about how I'm starting to change my opinion. I don't think Notre Dame is ever going to join a conference because I think these conferences at some point are going to start to realize, the conferences or TV are going to start to realize that why are we paying $90 million to Rutgers? Why are we paying $90 million to Vanderbilt? Why are we paying $90 million to these teams that don't generate money? I took some slack on that. This morning, Friday morning, I texted it to John before he went live this morning. There was an article about Reese Davis, the ESPN guy, saying the same exact thing. he was saying, at what point is the SEC and the Big Ten going to realize that we can cut all these teams we added that aren't generating revenue and give revenue to the teams that do, give more revenue to teams that do. So look at it this way. You cut out 4 teams from the Big Ten, or you cut out 6 teams from the Big Ten. That's times that by 90, divide that by 2, and then pay all those teams that extra revenue. Everybody's saving money that is still involved. The networks are saving money, and the teams that are still around are making more money. So I do think that's going to happen. I'm starting to get the feeling that that's going to happen.
So what would they do then? Just tell them, like, you're out, you don't make us money, you're a negative, you're like, what do you do?
They're going to do what happened to the Pac-12. We say we don't give a shit.
But what do those contracts look like for Rutgers, for Maryland? What are those contracts?
What is
like?
it? So here's the thing. I mean, if you get the conference, so if Michigan and Ohio State and USC and Penn State and Wisconsin, they'll probably throw Nebraska in as a legacy, go to the conference and say, this is what we want to do. What's the conference going to say? Yeah. They're going to tell their revenue generating programs no.
Yeah,
they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're going to say because Michigan could go independent. Ohio State could go independent. And I don't know if you remember when Chip Kelly was still the head coach at UCLA. He said the conferences need to go back to what they were 10 years ago, and every college football team needs to go independent.
Yeah.
And the teams that generate money stick around, and the teams that don't generate money drop back down out of it. That's what his point was. And that's probably what's going to happen, because at some point somebody's going to wake up and say, why are we paying all this money for crap? Why are we paying $180 million for Rutgers to play Maryland? That's not a good football game. Why are we paying $180 million for Ohio State to blow out Maryland?
So are you saying relegate those teams and bring in up? If you did that within the conference structure, what would you boot them out and then bring in revenue generating ones? Because then that's the other issue, is filling out a schedule. What do you do that you can't?
They're the group of 5, right? The Power 5 teams.
Yeah.
They start to separate them out and say, look, you guys are on this level, we're on this level.
Yeah.
And unless you can start to consistently win, you're not on this level. And you start to see this drive towards independence. And like Notre Dame didn't sign, what do we think, about 60 million?
Yeah.
Right. That's about what they signed. Huh?
You mean for TV?
For TV.
Yeah. And then you add in that ACC part, and then you're up near 77.
You're up 70. You're right, around 75. Yeah. And then you get the playoff money. You're 95 or 80, 85 or 90 million, something like that. So Notre Dame is like, it's right there. If you're Michigan, if you're Ohio State, if you're Georgia, are you not looking at and saying, why does that school get that deal? And we got to carry water for South Carolina.
Yeah.
We got to carry water for Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Man, this is so interesting.
Because that's what you're doing. You're carrying water for all these other programs.
A lot of different ways. But yeah, the way these people all like money, I am surprised they don't start looking at their own, being like, why is Rutgers in here? Why is Maryland in here?
Right.
Like,
and they go to the conference and they say, let's get rid of them. I mean, look, that's literally what's happening with the ACC. They have what they call it, the group of 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to, this group of 7 is trying to break the ACC, because they're like, we're the ones that are generating the revenue. Why am I giving up my TV rights for Duke?
Right.
And so, and then the other group, the other 7, and they're like, wait a second, don't go anywhere. We're going to fight you tooth and nail, because we can't generate this money on our own.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like is going to, because greed is driving everything in this, John. Greed is driving everything.
Clearly.
And what point are these guys going to realize, like, man, why am I getting 90 million? I can get 130 million.
Yeah.
and we could get 130 million and start to actually give balance back to the sport as it relates to your not football as a sport, but college athletics as a sport. Not making your girls softball team travel cross country 3 times a week.
I wonder if maybe you get in the new playoffs, see how things shake out, and then there's a recalibration, like, because what you're saying, maybe the next iteration of something that comes down the road.
That's where I think it goes.
Their argument already is, why should we have to split the money with the Big 12 and the ACC and all that? Because we're better than them already. Why wouldn't that apply in-house too? Like, it's perfectly logical.
Exactly. In-house
they already look at it that way. So look at it in your own place. And you know what? Rutgers and Maryland, teams like that, man, that's the luckiest thing of all time that they just wanted the New York market. So they let Rutgers in. And
here's my question.
All this money and they're Rutgers.
And here's the thing. I would have loved to have been in the rooms when this stuff was being decided. But I was like, do you think all you need to do is get in bed with the networks? You get in bed with ABC, you're in the New York market. You don't need Rutgers. You think people in Manhattan are watching Rutgers football?
Right.
They don't care. They're Michigan grads or Ohio State grads. They go into Michigan Law School. They're maybe Northwestern might actually have a better play than Rutgers.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's wild. Pat, anything else? This was fun, man. I'm going to pack a little bit, write an article, get ahead of the work for next week. You guys, I will post stuff every day. Still have videos for you guys. The live stuff is going to be as I can do it. So when I know, I'll put out a tweet, put out a note on the YouTube chat notes. I'll try and at least do 1 or 2 when I'm down there, but I have no idea what day, what time, but I'll still put out videos. I've recorded some stuff ahead. I'm sure I'll drink a few Miller Lights, start recording on the patio and make the golfers all mad at me. I'm sure that'll happen. It just depends what the deal is. Pat, it's really good to have you back.
Cheers, brother.
Beautiful. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the chats. It's always good to hit you 2 times in a day. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the March Madness. And Dr. John, take care of yourself, brother.